Welcome everyone to another gathering of the Center of Love, whether you were here in person, whether you were here online or listening later. We welcome each and every one of you. So grateful to have you with us. We're going to kick things off with a song. Our first song is chosen by our guest speaker today. It is called Vapor and it is by Gungor. Welcome to the Center of Love. So my name is Lassia Kahut. I am a licensed spiritual practitioner and I am a soul excavator, and I am so grateful to be here with you all in person, online, and for everyone who is listening to this recording down the road. So I'd like to start off with some words by Ojibwe, just being extraordinaire. His name is Richard Wagamese. I'm going to read from this book here, which is What Comes from Spirit. And he is was an incredible storyteller. Maybe someone could be muted. An incredible storyteller, and just his words and his writings are sort of on constant play at our home, Glenn's and mine. So I just wanted to read something from this book here. Someone asked me some time ago, how do you find your life's purpose? It's taken a while to really process that question. I found it for myself, as I always do, in stillness, in quiet, in solitude. For me, I carry no universal answer. I have to find my joy first, what really moves my spirit. Once I find my joy, I am led to my passion, the daily articulation of joy. Then, through a kinetic and passionate interaction with the world, I am led to my purpose. The secret lies in joy. When it begins there, my purpose doesn't become a job, a title, a destination. It becomes what it was always meant to become, the sure, calm, daily expression of who I really am. And that's why we come together, isn't it? Every Sunday, or not every Sunday, every other Sunday, every Sunday that we gather, we come together to this center of love to further ensconce ourselves, to be immersed in, to activate, to embody the center of love that each and every one of us is. And so what's this community about? For those who are joining for the first time, or for those who've been here since the very beginning, let us be reminded that our intention is to support one another, to share ideas, and to inspire each other to grow in love. That some of our commitments are to lead with love and allow love to be the motive behind our thoughts and actions, honor and respect individual differences while remembering that which unites us, to share our gifts with each other and the world, to cultivate healing, personal growth, and wholeness, and to inspire, uplift, and empower by serving with love. Some of our values include honesty, loving kindness, critical thinking, intuition, compassion, courage, openness, and creativity. And so those are just a few of them. But when it comes to creativity, imagination, and stuff like that, I would just like to draw everyone's attention to another painting by our very own Linda. It is of the Tarantula Nebula, which is apparently 170,000 light years away. And Linda and I were talking earlier, what's a light year? Anybody want to shout it out? Anybody know how long it takes? What's a light year?
180, light travel 186,000 miles per second.
Okay, it's a long ways away. And so this nebula here, Linda wrote, in simple terms, is a giant cloud of dust and gas. And all the different colors in here are different kinds of gas. Yeah, and so this is just part of the beauty, part of the holiness, part of the love that is who and what we are, that is everyone and everything, that is out there, that is in here. And so just let us sort of take in this beauty along with the song that we first heard and the words that we're about to be inspired by Glenn Sheridan, our speaker today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Linda, for sharing this incredible, amazing piece of creativity. So I would like to now introduce our speaker today, Glenn Sheridan, someone I know quite well because, well, we happen to be married. And so it was funny this morning as we're about to go out of the house, I said, hey, Mahoney, you didn't give me your bio. And I had already packed my laptop because I'm doing a meeting right after here. And so he printed it out. And of course I can, ad lib. I've known the guy for 30 years. And so he prints me out this bio, which is not your current bio. And it starts off with, still too windbaggy, but, and then there's the rest of his bio. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not going to read all of this, but basically this is who Glenn Sheridan is. He is one of the wisest, kindest, most compassionate people I know, probably one of the most humble people that I know, and someone that I feel like the world hasn't even begun to experience yet. And so every time he gets up in front of a room, every time he's in conversation with someone, every time he shares some of his doodles or scribbles or ideas, or like the amazing podcast that we had with one of my ministerial classmates yesterday, I just am in awe of him. I am in awe of his mind, of his brilliance, of his smile, of the twinkle in his eye, and the love that he is and that he's rediscovering for himself. And so I'm so delighted that he gets to share some of that love with us. He has shared it with me for the last 30-ish years as my partner in life, my best friend, as a father to our daughter, as Milana, as a father to his other kids, Kate and Garvin, as a friend, as an employee, as a board member for Unity Vancouver Island and Unity Victoria, and just as this incredible, amazing calmness that is such a great compliment to my go-gettedness. So without further ado, I would love to welcome Glenn Sheridan up to the lectern to share his ideas inspired by Ben's talk a couple of weeks ago and some stuff that came up in between. So here we go, Glenn Sheridan.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lassia, for hosting and giving me that lovely introduction. Thank you for everyone who's here in the room. I have to shift focus behind the camera. Lovely faces I know and love. Thank you to Candace and Ollie for opening your home to host us once again. And so here we go. Inspired by Ben. So my name is Glenn and I have questions. This will take roughly about 11 minutes. I will be reading from this because I haven't condensed it yet. I haven't practiced it enough. So the questions roughly are what, how, and why. Let's start with a quote from Alexander Fleming, who came up with penicillin, as you may know. In his book, The Origin of Mankind, viewed from the standpoint of revelation and research, he said, both scripture and science, from Genesis to quantum mechanics, revealed a common truth. We have to regard the universe, he concluded, not as a collection of things or events existing apart from any awareness of them by observers, but as manifested thoughts in the universal mind. So, what brought this talk about? The question I come up with first is my life without meaning? Why am I here? And this is because during our talk 2 weeks ago, the talk on beauty from the beautiful Ben, I realized that I felt quite unsettled by the part of his talk that discussed, and the discussion afterwards that focused on the improbability or perhaps the randomness of my existence, our existence, but in particular, of course, survival kicks in, my existence. So the Big Bang Theory of our origin is like nails on a chalkboard for me. It doesn't resonate with my soul. And this is sort of at the core of the idea when we talk about how long we've been here and how improbable it is that we exist, which is magical in its own way, but it just gets my back up right away. So referring to the Big Bang, Terence McKenna, who you mind expanding people may have heard of, once said that modern science is based on the principle, give us one free miracle and we will explain the rest. So I did some digging around in myself, and I found that I'm much more comfortable and aligned with the cyclical experience of life than with history as told using linear time. So things like breath and seasons, even the mystery of birth, life, death, rebirth. these ring more true to me than one single line describing how life on Earth developed. And I'm also more receptive to the archetypal reality language than with reality as described by the materialist and mechanical model contained within classical physics. So also, I'm not that smart to understand a lot of the stuff that's being described in classical physics. So here in this numinous neighborhood is where I find true meaning and the joys and satisfactions of value fulfillment. And this led me to contemplate the origins of our experience of universe and life. What might be the impetus to begin such a fantastic endeavor as all of this? And more on this at the end. A brief interlude from the business world. Now, have any of you heard of the business author and strategist Simon Sinek?
Yes.
S-I-N-E-K, right? So in the book, his book, Start With Why, he goes through the reasons why many organizations and companies experience failure and disappointment, where few have succeeded consistently. And in the book, he uses the image of a golden circle. This is not golden, but it is roughly circular. With what on the outside, how in the second ring, and in the bullseye we have, or the target we have why. And he explains that the focus is often placed only on the what portion, what the company makes or bakes, or what particular service they provide. It's claimed to be the best that there is, so come and get some. But this element originated in the neocortex part of the brain, the part that deals with fact and rational thinking and language. The how describes what sets their company apart from the competition. So innovation, novelty, simplicity, things like this. This is what makes them the better choice. And many companies and people even focus their attention only on the how and the what to gain market share by comparing its features, bells, whistles, and with what the competition offers. But the most successful business or individual will go the extra step and get to their why. The why is the core belief that drives them. It's the reason they exist. It's their North Star. It's why we do what we do. It's their raison d'etre, their origin story. So, and again, most companies go from the outside to the inside, when in fact, he said, they should be working from the inside of why. Working together, these three elements should work together: the clarity of why, along with the discipline of how, and the consistency of what. So this device I'm holding up right now, Apple is given as a prime example of success because they start from their core message. They say, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, easy to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make phones, computers, iPads, and so forth. Do you want to buy one? Most people don't have that kind of languaging. They just focus on the bells and whistles. So this clarity of why, but the why is controlled by the limbic brain that doesn't respond well to language. It doesn't interact well with that because it's coming from a place of feelings. And having clarity of why allows others to align with that which is not easy to verbalize. These are things like integrity, authenticity, passion, guiding principles. So this leads me both to the end question of why and to the how question. How do I think all of this came about if it wasn't in the manner described by some of the smartest people who've ever lived? And so I'm going to share now, if you don't mind, my favorite, the most haunting and poetic origin story of our universe I've ever encountered. It's from the book, The Seth Material, by Jane Roberts. It's going way back. So this session that's described is from 1968 when I was 4 years old. in making a distinction in a conversation with Jane and Rob, Jane's a writer, Rob is an artist. They're describing the difference between non-being and being, and we can't really fathom the idea of non-being. But he says, dimly, through what you would call a history, hardly remembered, there was such a state of non-being. It was a state of agony, and this is in block letters, agony, in which the powers of creativity and existence were known, but the ways to produce them were not known. This is the lesson that all that is, which is his preferred title for God, I guess, had to learn, that could not be taught. This is the agony from which creativity originally was drawn, and its reflection is still seen. All that is retains memory of that state, and it serves as a constant impetus, in your terms, toward renewed creativity, which is the big thing that jumps out for me. Each self, as a part of all that is, therefore, also retains memory of that state. It is for this reason that each minute consciousness is endowed with the impetus towards survival, change, development, and creativity. It is not enough that all that is desires further being, but that each portion of it also carries this determination. So that's all of you, me, everything that is around us. Goes on. Yet the agony itself was used as a means, and the agony itself served as an impetus strong enough, finally, so that all that is initiated within itself the means to be. And to Jane's husband, Rob, the artist, he says, pretend then that you possessed within yourself the knowledge, the sight of all the world's masterpieces in sculpture and art, and that they throbbed and pulsed as realities within you, but that you had no physical apparatus, no knowledge of how to achieve it, that there was neither rock nor pigment nor source of any of these, and you ached with the yearning to produce them. And this, on an infinitesimally small scale, will perhaps give you, as an artist, some idea of the agony and the impetus that was felt. So that really jumped out at me. So where are we? We have a bound up and frozen divine being in an agonizing state of non-being. And so with intention, it is forced to just let it go, as the song goes. Big plug for Disney there. You're welcome. And this quote sort of drives the point home from Neil Donald Walsh. He says, life begins at the edge of your comfort zone. I imagine that was the first and original comfort zone. The implication I choose to focus on here is that we inherited from the founder, back to the business world, of this organization, whose business is isness. The means and desire to create all the time, and also that we inherited all of the trauma that we need to transcend from this original creation moment. We do not need more. As I wind down, here's the mathematician and quantum physics pioneer, Sir James Jeans, echoing what Fleming observed a few moments ago. He said, the universe looks more and more like a great thought rather than a great machine. Mind no longer appears to be an accidental intruder into the realm of matter. We ought rather hail it as the creator and governor of the realm of matter. So, mind, what or whose mind? Am I part of or separate from this mind? And finally, back to the why of God, all that is. Why is the beingness of God continuing its process of becoming? And I love this term, a great thought. It really jumped at me 2 weeks ago as I was, my arm was twisted into talking today. Thank you, my love. A great thought. Now, this is where I could really use your help. I have my own understanding of a great or immense idea that creates and continues to unfold the universe as a purpose-filled process that may never end. And great is defined in the American Heritage Dictionary as very large in size, extent, or intensity. So if you would indulge me, I would like to continue us in the after group, in the breakout group, and see if we can deepen our appreciation for whatever this, in quotes, is. But just for now, if I give you my 3 examples of great thought, and if you could reflect on that and think about, or if you want to shout it out now, it's great. I'm going to say music. What a great thought music is. Trust and ease. Those would be mine. So does anyone have any right off the bat if they want to jump, shout out, or a great thought? Or we can take it later. Oh,
Silence.
silence. You were demonstrated but silence by not saying it, and then you said it. Thanks, Ollie. Reza,
No thought.
no thought.
No thought to me is great thought.
No thought is great thought. That's brilliant.
Same as always saying silence. Yeah.
Okay, I need to rewrite this whole thing. See you in about a month. Thank you.
Color.
Sorry?
Color.
Color.
Ah,
Oh, that's great. Color.
Freedom.
Freedom.
Ah.
Yes, I was going to write something about that, and it was going to get political, and then so as we just wind down, I'll just do one more quick Seth quote. He says, and I think he was being funny when he said this. He says, "Thank God that some God managed to disentangle itself from such psychic oneness, if that's what it's supposed to be. Thank God some God loved itself enough to diversify, to create itself in a million different forms, to multiply, to explode its being inward and outward. Thank God that some God loved its own individuality enough to endow the least and the most, the greatest and the smallest, with its own unique being." So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honey Bunch, Glenn Sheridan, for your inspiring, thought-provoking words. Thank you for everyone for your time, your presence, and the love that you are, whether in person, online, or watching it later on the recording. And I just want to close with some words from Richard Wagamies before we go into the last music that Glenn has chosen for today. And so these last words from him, taking into consideration the allness, the universe, the magic, the beauty, the holiness, the what, the why, the how, all of it. Never forget that we carry a common practical magic within us, that we are stardust and we carry comets and whirlwinds inside of us, that we are all magical beings and we always were. So thank you, Ollie and Candace. Thank you, everyone, for your time, your talent, your treasure, your support, your however it is that you interact with this community, however it is that you feel inspired to give. Whatever you give returns back to you multiplied abundantly. So give till it hurts. So for our last song today, it is from the movie Frozen, Let It Go. And I believe the singer is Adina Menzel.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So here we go. Let it go.